All right, guys. Injuries from the game. Christian McCaffrey, oblique rib. He's actually in MRIs right now, so we're still waiting on the imaging. George Odom, quad contusion. He'll be day-to-day. Deebo Samuel's shoulder. He'll be day-to-day. Trent Williams, ankle. He'll be day-to-day. And from last week, Greenlaw with his hamstring. We expect to get him back for practice this week. Go ahead.
Is Trent Williams a high ankle sprain?
No, it's not a high ankle sprain.
And with Christian McCaffrey, obviously, Brock Purdy had a oblique rib last year, and you guys were able to protect him in various ways. Can you do the same thing with a running back? I mean, flak jacket, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously a tougher position, just because you get hit a lot more. But we just got to see how it reacts. We got to see exactly what's wrong with it too, because we haven't got that back yet. So we say oblique/rib. Hopefully it's not both, but we got to wait to see for sure.
Kyle, were you able to get a handle on when exactly both Christian and Deebo got hurt and what happened on the plays that got them hurt?
Yeah, Deebo was the first play of the game on the jet sweep. He just took a shot on the shoulder. It didn't look overly big or anything. It just connected right, and so it got him after that. And if you watch him like the next 8 plays and stuff, you could just tell the feeling was starting to go because he couldn't use his left arm. Tried to come back and stuff, but just couldn't get feeling back in it. So we had to shut him down. And Christian, we're not sure about. He mentioned about 4 possible plays he thought he could have done it on, but we're not sure which one he did.
After watching the film, what did Jim Schwartz do to limit Brock Purdy's effectiveness?
I mean, they played aggressive man coverage. When we knew that going into it, they had a couple of pressures that got us. We had a couple of mistakes that got us into really negative situations. I mean, we had 2 drives in that game that didn't have a negative play. That was the first drive that we scored a touchdown, and it was the last drive where we ended up missing that field goal. And we got in some negative situations where we had 2nd and long and 3rd and long, and with that pass rush and the tight coverages, that makes it really tough on a quarterback. So I think just as a team wholly, just getting in some of those bad situations made Brock's job a lot tougher. But he mixed it up throughout the game, did a good job, and it was tough on film going in, and it was tough during the game too.
Going back to Deebo, already had imaging and X-rays, and what's the extent of that shoulder? Is it a bruise or an AC joint? What?
Yeah, that's what we're saying is day to day. We got to see how it recovers this week, and it's just how his body's going to handle it. You never know how those react, so we'll wait and see.
How difficult will it be? I mean, you talked about yesterday the adjustment you guys had to make with both of those guys out to not just lose potentially Christian, but he and Deebo for whatever length of time. How much of a challenge is that given their prominence in your offense?
I mean, anytime you lose real good players like that, it's a challenge. But that's stuff you got to go through. That's part of the football. I just thought we made too many mistakes, missed assignments and stuff once that happened. And because when that does happen, you got to put some guys in some different positions, stuff that you don't always put them through, but they're responsible for studying, and that's on everybody. But also when it got to that situation, I thought we should have made it easier for those guys because I think it would have been all right if we didn't lose those guys. But with the amount of mistakes we made in the game, obviously we had too much on them.
Hey, Kyle, following up on my question from yesterday about the run defense after the game, now that you've had the chance to watch the film, what was your appraisal of the run defense and maybe some ideas on what they can do to improve?
Yeah, I was disappointed in it. And it was I'm not sure the exact stat compared to the others, but if I had to guess, it was our most missed tackles on the year. I thought they got our edges way too much, just blocking down our DNs and getting around. We played a lot more 2-shell defense, and when you play 2-shell defense, you're a little bit behind in the run game. But we've been able to stop guys pretty good in that way. And when they got our ends and we didn't get our safeties downhill, they bled us out too much. And when you add on a couple of those missed tackles and everything, it was way too much. And especially when you got quarterbacks coming in who hasn't started yet. The best way to make that guy uncomfortable is to take away the run game, and with 160 yards in that, we obviously didn't, and that was disappointing, especially on those last 2 drives.
Hey, Kyle, when you
Randy.
guys took over, still leading 17-16 with 3:21 left, what did you see in the way the Browns were playing that prompted you to throw the ball 3 times there, and as a result only running off the 25 seconds?
Well, you don't plan on throwing it 3 times in a row. You don't plan on getting intentional grounding on the first one. So, 2nd and 20 run. I'm not really worried about time when you have a 1-point lead and 3 something left. If you get a first down and everything, then time can become a factor. But regardless of the timeouts in the game, you know you're going to throw one of those downs. So you're not thinking totally about the clock. Yeah, you'd love to stay in bounds and love to do all that, but the clock's not going to matter until you get a first down. So everything's about trying to get a first down. And they were blitzing us and stuff, and we thought we'd have a really quick pass to Ayuk on the 1st and 10, which is exactly what we got. We just made a mistake in where we sent our back, which made Ayuk covered on a hot unblocked throw, which put Brock in a bad position where he had to just get rid of it. So we made a mistake on that play, and then that's why we got intentional grounding. And when you're in 2nd and 20, and there's 3 minutes left, I'm not thinking of running out the clock. I'm thinking about trying to get a first down, and we thought that the best way was a quick pass to Ayuk, which we did, got us back in a competitive at least down where we had a chance on 3rd down, but we didn't get it. And that's why we punted to them, thought we could stop them. They went down and got a field goal, and then I was very thankful that there was more time on the clock.
Did you get any feedback, Kyle, from the league in terms of Gibson's hit or the almost fumble recovery by Bosa on those 2 calls?
No, not at all. I mean, we will eventually. We always send in stuff we disagree with, and they'll tell us whether they agree with our disagreement or not. But regardless of what happens, it really doesn't matter. That's what happened on Sunday, and that's what you got to live with. And that's why you got to play better football so it doesn't come down to those calls.
Now, was there a common thread on the 2 Jake Moody misses?
I didn't think so. I mean, he missed the first one left, and he missed the second one right. You can ask him about that, but you can get into the technicalities of kicking and everything. But to me, it just looked like he missed it a little bit.
It wasn't misreading the wind or anything like that in both cases?
No, I mean, I talked to Schneid's on the plane, and he didn't mention anything like that. And, the first one was a tough one. I mean, we need to get him in a better situation and have a closer field goal than the first one. I'm glad that we're able to attempt that from that far, but that's not something that if you're real mad at him for always missing that far of one, you're going to be disappointed at times. But, the last one was the toughest one, but just missed it a little bit there to the right, and it was a good experience for him. We'll see how he bounces back from it.
When the schedule came out, did you guys consider staying back on the East Coast for this one?
Sorry, what did you say?
When the schedule came out, did you guys consider staying somewhere toward the middle of the country?
Yeah, we did, but since we had the extra day, didn't bother us as much. We're coming back here, and that we have an 8-day week, which is really unusual in this league. So we didn't feel we needed to do it, and we also know how miserable next week's going to be where we have a 6-day week coming back from and landing at 5 in the morning on that 6-day week. So it was kind of one of the guys to be in their own homes this week because we know what it's going to be like here over the next 14 days or so.
Kyle, after the game, Trent was talking about the injury he had and how much pain he was in and how he just wanted to, kind of just help the team out, keep Jalen Moore out of a difficult situation. Obviously, you trust Trent, but how do you kind of balance, when it's time to, this could be putting him at risk or it could be worse for the team to keep a guy like that in when he's banged up?
Oh, that's always the toughest thing because you never want to do something to put someone at a huge jeopardy to make it worse, and that's why you got to go with the player. Hopefully you have an idea. Well, first of all, you got to ask the trainers, but then you go to the player, and you got to have a history with the player. You got to kind of know how he is and stuff like that, and I truly believe that if Trent couldn't go, Trent's not going to go. He's going to do everything he can to be out there, but Trent's a very intelligent guy who is also very competitive and understands what those decisions are, and he said he could come back. I wasn't expecting him because of how bad the injury looked. The trainers thought that it wasn't as serious as it looked. Trent was adamant to get back out there, and then we keep our eyes on him all game, which Chris Herser does a real good job of. So does Krager and Joe, his assistants, and Trent, we thought, battled during the game, didn't show any limps, and it was a pretty courageous effort by him coming out and in those circumstances, especially the player he was going against.
Has there been any update on Darell Lutter's status and how he's progressing?
You know what? I haven't asked that in this last week. I know he's getting closer. I would guess, without me asking, that'd be coming up here in the next few weeks.
What did you think of Randy Gregory on film? He was saying after the game he could have done better in run defense, but obviously he made an impact as a pass rusher. So what were your takeaways in his debut?
I thought it was a positive one. Just getting out there, with limited, he's been in our scheme for 2.5 practices up to that moment, and to be able to get in there and to make some plays, get in the sack, in the TFL. And I loved his length out there. I love, what we saw, and I think the more he gets with us, the more he practices, the more he understands our scheme, the better he'll get.
Take a couple more.
Jordan Mason obviously was part of that final drive. Where is your trust in him? If Christian can't play in Minnesota, would you be okay with Jordan Mason being the top running back in that game?
Yeah, we'll see how. Elijah's earned a ton with us over these years. I think Elijah, when he's been healthy, has been as good of a back as there is. He's had a hard time staying healthy. But I also can't take away anything from JP. Every time JP's got his opportunities, you guys see how he's done. So both of those guys have done very well. Elijah came back and practiced late last week on Thursday, so then he got really one true day of practice in, and that's why JP got the first nod once Christian came out. But we got 2 really good players there, and I know Ty Davis is waiting for his opportunity also. So hopefully Christian will be good to go this week, but if not, we got a group of backs that we can rely on.
Kyle, you said for Jake this was a good learning experience. You'll see how he bounces back. Do you feel that really for the whole team, that perhaps this was an important game to go through with your aspirations for the rest of the season?
Yeah, definitely. I think you got to play good football in this league, or you're going to get beat. And it doesn't matter who you play or win. But we didn't play that good of football, and we were still able to pull it out, which I would have been proud of them for doing that. You're not always going to play great football, and you still got to find a ways to win. But rarely do the football gods reward you when you make as many mistakes as we did. Just missed assignments, penalties, missed tackles, a couple missed opportunities that are the difference in winning and losing. And when you miss those throughout the game, it rarely does it work out in the end. So either way that happened, I think it was a good learning experience. And really all that matters is when they come in tomorrow and they watch this film with us, just like all that matters when they came in after Dallas and watched the film, is that you watch what you did good, you watch what you did bad, and you make sure that you get better the next week.
Hey, Kyle, what do you think of how Ayuk and Jennings did on that last drive, making a couple of those catches to get you down there?
It was the best drive of the day. The first drive of the day was the best one because we ran the ball every play and then got in at a screen on the last play of that drive. And then the last drive of the game was our second best one on offense. And, especially starting it out backed up a little bit, having to make some big plays to get down there. And it was Brock's best drive of the game. It was BA's best drive of the game and Jawan's. And I thought our line did a good job in a true passing situation to allow him to have that time. And I was happy how they finished that.